Hi everyone, Simon Keeling here at weatherweb.net. It is Tuesday the 30th of July. Thanks again for watching. Just a reminder that we kept free of charge by the adverts you see around the screen, and when you come back and use the site and use the advert, that's what generates the revenue that keeps us free of charge. You can also, of course, follow us on Twitter, and if you just use the account at Weather School, then you can keep up to date with all the latest forecasts there. Now, one of the main difficulties that we've got at the moment in terms of forecasting is what happens next week. And we know that temperatures are going to be warming up at the end of this week. We know that it probably goes a little more unsettled at the weekend, but next week really is causing some problems. And I'll show you what I mean. This is the CFS forecast issued on the 29th, and it's valid for week 1 from the 30th through to the 5th of August. So this is taking us up to Monday. Now, on this week, you can see here that we've got above normal heights out towards the east, lower than normal heights out to the west, which is where our low pressure is from, and the resulting flows from the south or the southwest. That all looks pretty believable at the moment. Now, the problem is that as we get into week 2, what happens then? You see, the CFS is trying to build a ridge out to the east and maintain the trough in the Atlantic. So the pattern does something like that. We find high pressure out here. We then find that the flow comes in from the southwest, from the southeast, sorry, bringing some warm conditions, I think, into the beginning of the week. But what I think will happen is that this trough will move its way eastwards during the course of the week. And it's that that's causing me the difficulties in deciding, okay, well, how warm is it going to be and how unsettled does it effectively then become? But you can see here, look, that the CFS does try to bring us under the influence of that trough by week 3, because it's got the green colours there showing below normal height. So I think what it's trying to hint at here is that we're probably going to get a pattern something like this in the 500 millibar flow. And what that signifies is that low pressure probably is close to the country during the course of this week. So it's trying to make things more unsettled. But I think it's not really going to be a breakdown as such. I think it's going to be very hit and miss in the way that it comes through. And I think some areas could stay dry. And it's only a temporary slip into unsettled conditions into that weekend of the 6th to the 8th. It then looks as if probably heights are back to normal. We find a ridge out in the Atlantic here, a trough across central parts of Europe dipping down here, and the flow going back into the east or the southeast, taking conditions warmer again to get into that last third of the month. So August it's almost a non-descriptive month, isn't it? In that, you know, that there are signs there of things happening, but actually it looks as if there isn't going to be great wet spells or great dry spells. I think we're almost into what you would call normal conditions, although it's tending to stay warmer than normal. Although I do think we're going to see this tendency for thundery rain perhaps affecting more southern areas. Now let's just get back to next week again. This is the ECMWF chart for the 8th of August. So this is Thursday, and so Thursday the 8th, a week on Thursday. What this is showing us, look, is low pressure centred across the north of France. And that would bring in very warm conditions, but also thundery rain across southern areas. Now, compare that with the Canadian. And the Canadian also goes with this idea, look, of low pressure, quite a complex area of low pressure according to them, though. Again, across the southern parts of the UK, so it's still within the same sort of area, and they still have this trough at 500 millibars out towards the west. The GFS ensemble is similar too, look. It too has a trough here out towards the west. It's got low pressure here, but that's centred more across the British Isles. So I think we can build a picture that at the end of the week, things do go into a more unsettled phase, having potentially been very warm during the earlier part of the week. And this is the temperature trace from the ECMWF. You can see how temperatures peak, look, as we get into Thursday, and then we see that fall off in temperatures through Friday, or rather late on Friday into Saturday. And then we see this kind of just hovering around a steady sort of mark, but then falling off towards the end of the forecast period. So the ECMWF is seeing this blast of warmth as well, and it does pick up temperatures again into next week, but then pulls them off once again. And the ensemble sees it as well. This is the GFS ensemble. Here's our peak in temperatures this weekend, look. And then we cool off through the weekend, but then we start to see a little bit of a rise again into the early part of the week before temperatures cooling off later on. And of course that's what the CFS was hinting at. CFS different to the Korean model. I showed you the Korean model on Friday, and that got higher pressure in for the middle to the end of the month. CFS certainly wants to make it a bit more unsettled. So it's a tricky one to try and pin down, really, as we head into August, as to how these things are going to pan out. So I still have this date of the 11th, 12th as this possible improvement, but as we saw, not being backed up by the CFS. But this is the chart for Wednesday then, and this is showing us a front that's moving north, because we have another problem. This front that's moving north, the warmth which you can see there, is causing the models some difficulties at the moment. Now, maybe a little bit of rain for northern parts of Scotland, elsewhere generally dry with some sunny spells, but it's that warm front that causes the difficulties. And the difficulties relate to the rainfall. Let me show you a few models. This is the GFS, and it's rainfall from 7 AM in the morning through to 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Wednesday. And just look at the area of rain there. Most of it, where the darker blue colours are, we've got Wales there heading into northern England and coming down into southern parts of Ireland too. Now the high resolution NAE, which is the Met Office model, again this runs from 7 AM until 1 PM on Wednesday. This has the main area within here, look, extends it much further east through Wales, through the Midlands and into eastern parts of England. And it's backed up by the Met Office global model as well, which also has on here, look, most of the rainfall across parts of Wales, heading into southern parts of England as well, and it's got these bits further east. But again, it's not entirely sure where it wants to place this. So it's a bit of a tricky one. I think what we've got to say for tomorrow is that we'll find this area of rain moving its way northeastwards. I think really we've got to count for rain through the Midlands, Wales, northwest England and Ireland, becoming heavy at times as it tracks its way northwards. And don't be surprised if rain does get as far as East Anglia and the southeast. I think that's just the best way to play it. Most of Scotland's dry, most of Northern Ireland is dry, just some rain affecting the far north. For Thursday, our warm front is across Scotland. Some pretty hefty bursts of rain, I think, affecting Scotland during the course of Thursday. I think for most, though, it's going to be a very warm day. It's going to be dry, and there'll be some sunny spells around too. Wouldn't be surprised at 1 or 2 showers affecting the Pennines, but elsewhere it's dry, and I think temperatures could get to 32 degrees in central London, nearer 20 in northern Scotland. Friday presents a bit of a problem as well, because as a cold front moves eastwards during the night into Friday morning, it will trigger some showers across eastern parts of the country. Now, difficult to tell exactly how many of these showers there's going to be and how heavy they'll be, but I think 1 or 2 of them could be quite thundery through these eastern areas. A few showers for western Scotland and for Ireland as well, but elsewhere generally dry with sunny spells. It'll be warm again too for Friday. On Saturday, the threat of some thundery rain quite close to these eastern coasts on Saturday. Further west, I think it's sunshine and showers, most of the showers affecting western areas. More inland areas, so the Midlands running up through northeast England and eastern parts of Scotland, there we should be largely dry. Sunday sees a ridge of high pressure building in, and I think that leads us into a dry day on Sunday with some good sunny spells for most. Just increasing cloud across the southwest as this front moves in, perhaps for western Wales too. Wouldn't be surprised to catch a shower across the hills of Wales. More persistent rain reaching Ireland later on in the day, but for most places it's dry, fine and sunny, just an odd shower across western Scotland. So questions for next week then as to exactly what happens. Of course, we'll keep you informed right through here at weatherweb.net. Once again, thanks for watching. Don't forget, we're kept free of charge by the adverts around the screen here and by you coming back and using the adverts and using the site. So once again, thanks for watching and keep the sun shining. Bye for now.